Hi guys, so this video will serve as our Essay 4 prompt video, and we're going to cover a bunch of different things. Okay, we're going to talk about the prompt. There's two options, okay, so we're going to talk about the two options for your outline, the sample essays, the research video and extra credit, the works cited, everything that you really need for Essay 4. So stay tuned until the end here. Okay, so we can just jump right in, alright? The first thing we want to do is talk about our prompt, so I have that open right here. Okay, so please note your research outline will be due Sunday, December 10th, and then your final draft will be due Saturday, December 16th. So please note that Saturday deadline. Saturday. So for our prompt, you will have two options. So choose one of the following options, and they're both listed here. So this one, option 1 just goes right to here, and then your second one starts below that line. So let's look at the first one first, okay? If you choose this option, you will write a formal traditional 6 to 8 page argumentative research paper about education. You must use at least 2 of our unit's readings and at least 3 sources found on the Cuyamaca College Library website, for a minimum of 5 total sources. Your paper must also include at least 1 counter-argument with a rebuttal. So let's pause right there. So if you guys remember way back in the 10.8 module, there was an argumentation lecture. Okay, if you go to about halfway through, you will find that I talk about counter-arguments and rebuttals. So I strongly recommend that you go back through and listen to that lecture again to get the counter-argument and rebuttal information that you'll need for your paper. All right, and that's in the 10.8 module. Okay, so that was just a little note there. Let's go back to our prompt. Okay, so for this option, it's a traditional research paper. You're going to answer one of these questions in a sustained argumentative paper with a thesis statement, and then you will use your 5 minimum sources to support your ideas. So some optional questions: what is the purpose of a college education? Should everyone have equal access to education? What do students gain or lose from getting a college education? Does it matter what a student gets their degree in? What degrees are most useful to the country's success? What is the value of a humanities degree? And is the prioritization of STEM fields in the U.S. legitimate? Okay, so you will choose one of those questions, and of course at the bottom there it says create your own. If you would like to create your own, just email me for approval by Sunday, December 3rd. Okay, that's a week before your outline's due. So again, if you want to create your own research question, just get it approved by me, just so I can make sure that it'll create a successful paper. And then your outline will be due the following week. You can get approval even earlier than the 3rd if you'd like, okay? So again, you are going to answer one of these questions. Say you pick the first one. You're going to answer that question in an argumentative paper with a thesis statement, and you will use your 5 sources to support what you are saying, okay? And I have a list at the bottom of the prompt of all our in-class texts. You will need to choose at least 2, okay? So let's go to Canvas. In our 1119 module here, we have 2 outline options. Notice it says outline 1 and option 2, okay? If you are choosing the traditional research paper, the prompt I just went over, you will download the option 1 outline, okay, for the 10th. Okay, so it's right here. Notice it does have a counter argument. It looks very similar to the ones we've been working with this semester. So all you need to do is simply download the file, okay, because you will need to open it. Here we go. You will need to open it and simply fill in all the information that I have here. Please provide your actual thesis statement. So don't just leave it blank here. Actually give me your thesis. Write out your full, complete topic sentences as complete sentences. They should not be questions. They should not be phrases. They should be complete sentences. Provide your actual quotes that you're going to use, okay? In your research, you need to pull out quotes and put them in your outline, and a brief explanation. Your outline does not need to be a complete essay, but it does need to be a complete and thorough outline so that I can give you feedback before you get your final draft done, okay? So your counter-argument needs to have a source as well, and then a rebuttal. Okay, so this is the outline for the traditional research paper option on our prompt, our our option 1 right here. Again, if you choose this option, that's the outline that you do. Now, if you choose option 2, okay, this is going to be your prompt. You will use a variety of sources to show a spectrum of perspectives on your education topic. It will take the form of a 6 to 8 page debate, which will look somewhat like a screenplay. The challenge will be to offer coherent arguments by characters who represent not just different points of view, but also different styles of argumentation arising from their varied backgrounds, educational background, cultural and ethnic differences, and personal experience. So that's kind of just some background on the prompt. Notice that if you attempt this option, you will get 20 extra credit points towards your final paper score. Okay, so I encourage you guys to try this. You get 20 extra credit points, so there's no real risk in trying it, and you get to have some fun. Okay. The introduction will consist of a description of your characters, their positions on the given issue, and background information needed to help your intelligent, naive reader to understand your topic. Most of the explanation can be included in the context of the discussion. Assume your audience is educated but isn't necessarily knowledgeable about the subject. Also assume that they are very sensitive to bias. They shouldn't see yours even if you personally have strong feelings about it. You can choose the setting, but it is usually helpful to think in terms of a venue that encourages high-level discourse. Feel free to be as creative as you would like, as long as you think PBS-level discussion, not Jerry Springer. The more you can envision the personalities of your characters, the better your choice of rhetorical strategies can be. The context of this debate should encourage the most intelligent arguments possible. Your characters will be fictional but can be based on actual people. While they should be representational of certain groups and belief systems, they must not be stereotypes. They should be people whom you would be willing to listen to even if you vehemently disagreed with their particular point of view. If the person has an unpopular viewpoint, you might want to contrast it with an especially appealing personality or intriguing life situation. Each should bring something unique to the discussion. You will write as though they are speaking to each other, and your sources will be part of that speech. Each quote or paraphrase must be documented in the MLA style to avoid plagiarism. So, you are creating fictional characters. You make up their names, you make up their personal backgrounds, their jobs, if they're married, if they have kids, what they believe in. You are not going to simply use the names of our authors from our unit, okay? You are making up your own characters, and they will be talking to each other. And they will use, we'll get to the sources in a minute, but in their debate, they will use the sources that you found, okay? It can be difficult to distance yourself from your own words. Some people feel very awkward making a strong argument for something they do not believe, but this is an excellent way to train yourself to think critically and be able to articulate others' points of view honestly and fairly. The debate itself will be in script form with speakers asking and answering questions. Characters will address one another's points and then go on to bring up new arguments. Make sure that the debate is not just a series of monologues, but is a real conversation. Normally there will be 3 to 5 speakers per page. More than that means you might be lacking in your use of sources, and fewer would sound more like speeches than debate. Speakers will quote or paraphrase their sources as though they are stating their own ideas. Your minimum of 5, at least 2 readings from our unit, and at least 3 sources found on the Cuyamaca College Library website will need to include journals, transcripts, oral interviews, online discussion, news sources, books, and others. The personality of the individual character will dictate what kind of sources he or she might use. Again, each side should be so persuasive that the reader won't know your bias. In the conclusion, you can enlighten your audience as to your true beliefs. Talk about why you believe what you do, and how your views might have changed as you did your research and formulated your arguments. Students may create a context which inspires them and which encourages strong argumentation. There is often a tendency to demonize those with whom the writer personally disagrees, even though most students claim to be tolerant of others' beliefs. This assignment will help students practice how to be able to articulate other sides, a step toward respecting those who hold the opinions. Okay? So the same questions are available, the same topics, so you will choose one of these questions and then come up with your debate. Again, if you want to come up with your own topic, just email me for approval by Sunday, December 3rd. Here is a list of the in-class texts you can choose from. You need to choose at least 2. Okay, so I want to go to Canvas now and show you what's on here. So this was the outline for option 1. If you just go to the next page in your module, this is now the option 2 outline. Okay, so every outline is probably going to look different for this dialogue essay because the way that you set it up will be quite different. However, everyone in their introduction will need to describe your characters and their positions and give background information. And then the body of your outline is going to look like a conversation. Be sure in your outline to include your evidence, okay? Include the quotes that your characters are going to use. And then in your conclusion, it's going to be what you actually believe. So you simply download this document for option 2 and fill it in if you are choosing option 2 for the prompt. So in your modules, we can kind of get a list here. So we've just talked about the prompt and the 2 outline options. Again, you choose the option that corresponds to the prompt choice that you're going with. Notice I have a bunch of sample essays here. Okay, I have one sample essay for the first option, the traditional research paper. So you can go ahead and look at this. The thesis is right here. An individual's post-secondary education benefits the economy, provides intellectual and personal enrichment, and progresses society upwards. Moreover, the journey to obtaining higher education will be a fulfilling and life-changing experience. Okay, and then this person chose Del Banco from our class. And then here's an outside source right here. So this person is using the sources that they found to support their points. This is another outside source, and so on and so forth. Outside source here. Here's an in-class article here. Okay, and then the works cited. It's perfect. Okay, so if you choose option 1, there's a solid sample here for you to look at. If you choose option 2, I have provided 4 different samples for you just because there's so many different ways that you can go about this. So here's the first one, and a quick note about the file types or the file names. Notice it says option 1 and then the other ones say dialogue. So be sure you're looking at the right sample for your chosen prompt. For the dialogue, you can kind of see here, I just want to show you the structure. The student starts off with an introduction on the topic, and then he starts introducing his characters. Donald Monroe, an MIT-educated engineer who's one of the top minds in his field. While he is in favor of increased funding and focus on STEM, Riley Peterson, who holds 2 master's degrees in philosophy and communications, is a proponent of his personal business, right? Jerome Sanford, a liberal arts professor at Stanford, right? Erica Thor's daughter, right? So this person has like 4 or 5 different characters, and the intro introduces them. These people are all made up, their backgrounds are made up and everything. So that's what you're going for. And then the debate starts. And notice that each person is talking to each other. There's even little stage directions here. Putting those in italics is very helpful. Putting the people's names in bold is very helpful. And then notice the speakers are simply using the students' outside sources and in-class articles as their evidence. Here's an in-class article, in-class article. Please note this is actually incorrect. The period goes outside of the citation, so just be aware of that. But otherwise, this is a very, very good sample for the dialogue. And I just kind of want to scroll through. Once the dialogue is over right here, the conclusion is now the student's kind of opinion about the topic. Okay, and this is a pretty lengthy conclusion. It doesn't have to be that long, but notice that even the conclusion has some sources here. So that's kind of the structure that I'm going for. And then I want to show you actually sample number 4, because this person went really creative. This person decided to make up their own debate show called The People's Debate, and there's a producer, right? And then his stage directions are in the asterisk. And so there's like a moderator of the debate who's kind of, mediating the whole thing. And then he has his characters. So some people have their characters introduce themselves. Some people put it, only in the introduction. It doesn't really matter to me the way that you go. There's almost no limits to your creativity on this option. Have fun with it. Okay, so you can kind of see this person decided to enter down to indicate that somebody was speaking. Again, bolding is sufficient. But again, this person even has different scenes, right? Welcome back. There's applause from the audience, right? There's tons of different things here. And then this person has their conclusion at the end as well. and a works cited page. Let's see option 3 really quick. This starts with Will Faher, and I'm pretty sure this is the person's, this is the debate moderator, and he introduces the characters. Okay, so that's another way to go. This one here, this is a panel, okay, 3 community members. So it's so different the way people decided to go about this. One person did, you know, 3 moms were meeting at a coffee shop to discuss their children going to college, right? So you can choose any setting and characters that you want, all right? So that is option 2, okay? So there's a library research video demo in this same module. Please watch it so you can figure out how to use your library source to find sources. This is my video that I created to help you. Now in the next page in the module, I've also provided you with some extra credit. Okay, it's worth 15 points. So you click on this link, there's directions here that you can follow, but you click on it and you scroll down and you start the online tutorial. Okay, and it kind of takes you through the ins and outs of how to use the, it's actually the Grossmont College Library, but you know, you guys still have access to it through your district password. It's very, very thorough, much more thorough than my video, which is why I'm allowing you to get some extra credit on this. It's super, super helpful, okay? The site will email me your results, and then I will give you the extra credit. All right. Let's see, anything else here? There's also your checklist, you know, go through that document to see how to integrate quotes, and then your works cited is here. These last 2 things, believe it or not, are the only 2 assignments that you have to do in this module. Everything else is a resource for SA4. All of these things are resources for SA4. A quick note about your discussions for Unit 4. They are rather lengthy. There's several readings that are a couple pages each. So be sure that you are following the instructions. If it says choose 2 authors, make sure you choose 2. If it says choose 3, choose 3. But start them early. There is quite a bit of work to do in those discussion boards, all right? But they will be very useful to you in helping you come up with ideas for SA4. All right, so if you have any questions, don't hesitate to email me.